share it with the audience, but also after that, so would you like to read out something or recite something of some of your lyrics which you probably thought of in Hindi, or maybe contrasted with some of your famous ad lines which you thought of in English?
First of all, just when you come to films, and I want to, being a writer in the films, I shouldn't be saying, but I still feel, see, film again is a middle ground, partition you were talking about, and I recently wrote a film called Bhag Milkha Bhag. Now in that I tried to sort of portray partition. And when I compare that, my work, my writing with somebody like Manto, I feel that's diverse. We're still trying to come to a middle ground. I've been brought up on Manto. And I think you can see the reflections, if you've seen the film, of Manto in those scenes. I mean, unmistakably, anybody can, if you have seen the Tat Ka Parda, read the story, and the scene, if you remember from the film, where the domestic violence is happening by the relationship between the brother and the sister and the brother-in-law. Now, I still feel we require something more than, to rely more than on Bollywood or film industry for language, because it is always going to find a middle ground where everybody can understand. I know what kind of Punjabi I have used in Bhag Milkha Bhag. The Punjabi I understood, the Punjabi I knew, Punjabi I thought people would be able to comprehend. Still, I could not go that far if I was truthful in portrayal of, probably somebody else should have written those dialogues. But I wrote with the thing in mind that we wanted a larger audience and a big hit. So the role of literature, a role of folk literature, those things cannot be undermined, and we can't just, shun the responsibility and tell Bollywood to keep the Hindi language alive. It is going to be alive in a certain way in Bollywood. It is not going to do complete justice to it. Let's always think about it, because most of the times we keep thanking film industry for the survival of the language. We should be thanking many more industries and many more sort of functions for that.
Thank you. That's a very honest appreciation of the useful but nevertheless limited role that film plays.
Yes. But it's very useful. It always keeps it alive. It keeps it vibrant. Coming back to
back to Punjabi, if we believe the only Punjabi which exists in films exists, then I'm sorry,
not at all.
The Punjabi dictionary would be 10 pages.
Yes. Yeah. So would Hindi and Urdu. So that's what.
Can we take you back to recitation?
Yeah. So you want me to recite this poem? Actually, I have it for you. Also, I want to make a point that again, the thought and the language. See, this is a poem. I don't know why I used the language I used in this. This is folkish language in which I wrote this. If you see the thought is very simple. And if you try and express this thought in Hindi or in English, it would not have the same impact. But I'll just recite this for you. It is about a girl talking to the father. And I don't know why I've used the folk meter and folk style of writing for this, but this is what I felt like. And you see the impact of it. I'll sing it for you. Babul jiya mora ghabraye, Babul jiya mora ghabraye, bin bole raha na jaye, bin bole raha na jaye, Babul jiya mora ghabraye, Babul mori itni araj sun lijo, मोहे सोनार के घर ना दीजो, मोहे सोनार के घर ना दीजो, मोहे जेवर कभी न भाए, बाबुल जिया मोरा घबराए, बाबुल मोरी इतनी अरज सुन लीजो, मोहे राजा घर ना दीजो, मोहे राजा घर ना दीजो, मोहे राज न करना आए बाबुल, जिया मोरा घबराए। बाबुल रे बाबुल मोरी, इतनी अरज सुन लीजो, मोहे लोहार के घर दे दीजो, मोहे लोहार के घर दे दीजो, जो मोरी जंजीरें पिघलाए बाबुल।
Thank you. Amazing. And I think we're going to relish that for a while before we come back to your other lyrics. We don't want to lose the mood you have created. We're going to go back to Mahmood. Mahmood, kind of delicacy of thought that we just heard in what is folk lyric. Urdu is the language for delicacy of thought. The richness of nuance that you have in Urdu poetry, you cannot have anywhere else. Why do you think that language has gone into such a decline?
I think there's a lot of politics behind that as well. In 1947, when the country was divided, Urdu was, some people who went to Pakistan and who were involved with the Pakistan movement said that Urdu had created Pakistan. They themselves claimed it, and that came to be the impression. Urdu became identified with one of the reasons for partition, because the Urdu-Hindi divide and the Urdu-Hindi internecine warfare had led to a lot of aggravation of conflict politically. So in 47, when Pakistan was created, and of course more Muslims were left behind in India than went to Pakistan, the language faced a kind of a stigma and a systematic discrimination. In places like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, which were the heart of Urdu, it was immediately removed from school education. It became impossible to study in Urdu. It became progressively impossible to study Urdu in schools, And it has been documented. People have written about this, exactly what happened. And we talked about, the three-language formula, and we've been talking about it for the last 60 to 70 years. But it is difficult. I mean, there's an old saying, a language is a dialect with an army. If the dialect gets an army, it becomes a language. Otherwise, it is not. It is just whatever. It's a dialect. So there is an invariable association. It's about power and state power, which sustains languages in the modern era. And without state backing, languages will find it difficult to survive. They will survive it in the form that Prasoon was talking about. They have survived. So Urdu has survived in Bollywood, but it has survived in a much more diluted, attenuated form with a kind of a mass outreach, The kind of dialogues, for instance, you could have in 1950s films are not dialogues that you can have in films today, because much lesser number of people understand it. I also find it strange, actually, many times when I watch Hindi films, when people speak their dialogue, I can read the English sentence, They're not speaking in the syntax of Hindi, the syntax of Urdu. Like, for instance, when you say, there is an order to the words in every language. Botal mez ke upar rakhi hai. Now, in English, it is said differently, When you start translating dialogues from English into this, you get a kind of a stilted effect, which I notice in a lot of films. Because we are all thinking in English and trying to write in something else, and all thinking in some other language and trying to write in some other language. So I find myself mentally translating sentences from English into Urdu and Urdu into English a lot of times. And there are things that you can say in Urdu and there are things that you can't say in Urdu, for which I have to rely on English.
But Urdu still remains one of the languages on our constitution. So I don't think you can say...
Which is taught in Kashmir, basically, which has lost its own language because of Urdu. So there is reverse imperialism that is happening.
But you see a difference in the last 50 years, because if you take the metaphor of films, I mean, you had films in the late 50s and 60s, you had films like Mughal-e-Azam, you had films like Chaudhwi Ka Chand, Sahib Bibi Aur Ghulam, Palki. You had a lot of Lucknow-based kind of language, Urdu films in which Urdu was used a lot. Is that gone?
No, definitely. I see a lot of differences from where I was growing up in the 70s to today. And that is a difference that applies to Hindi as well, but in a slightly different way. When I was growing up in the 70s, there were at least, 10, 15 different kinds of magazines, middle-brow magazines. Shama obviously was the biggest thing in film journalism for everyone. There were magazines for children, there were detective novels, there were magazines for women. There was a lot of middle-brow literature being written, this Wajda Tabassum from Hyderabad was writing these, women-centric novels, which had a very wide readership. And similarly, in Hindi also, you had magazines like Madhuri, you had Dharam Yug, you had Saptahik Hindustan, we grew up on Rajan Iqbal, we grew up on S.C. Bedi, and all kinds of middle-brow stuff, That sort of seems to have disappeared from the landscape at the moment. I can't think of a single Hindi magazine right now. There is, Dan Divya Bhaskar and others have come out with magazines, but they haven't made a mark. So there is a disappearance of that middle brow, that middle ground, So what has happened to Urdu literary culture today, Urdu literary culture has got reduced purely only to literature. There is no social science in Urdu today in India. Whereas there is social science being done in Punjabi, there is a lot being done in Hindi. There is no Dalit writing in Urdu, for instance. So the landscape has got a kind of involuted in a certain sense, and narrowed down. And why wouldn't it? Because, if I want to write social science in Urdu, or I want to write a history of Bombay in Urdu, things which were possible 40 years ago, there is no readership for it, How many people are going to read that in Urdu? Because the Urdu walas, a lot of them, are now coming from madrasas, ironically.
So, would you like to comment?
Yeah, so I think, it's very important to have the culture manifests itself. If the culture does not exist, the language does not exist, and vice versa. It goes like together. So, if you look at films, when Mahmood was talking about films, I think we have got much more segmented films right now. Earlier, एक विलन भी होता था, वो पता नहीं क्यों उर्दू का शेर बोलने लगता था. मतलब वो कुछ करने वाला है, किसी को मारने वाला है, कुछ वो बोलता था. कोई शेर बोलता था कि मुद्दत हुई है यार को मेहमा किए हुए जोशे कदे से बज़्म चरागां की. अब उसको आप सोच नहीं सकते. मुझे याद है मिथुन चक्रवर्ती ने बोला ये, वो गुंडा है, वो मारने जा रहा है और वो किसी को हिट करने वाला है, उससे पहले रुक जाता है. कोई फिल्म है, मुझे याद नहीं है, पर वो मिथुन चक्रवर्ती उर्दू शेर पढ़ रहे हैं, आप सोचिए. और मुद्दत हुई है यार को मेहमा किए हुए जोशे कदे से बज़्म चरागां की हुए बिशु. अब आप सोचिए, मतलब कहीं ना कहीं उसमें एक जबरदस्ती भी थी कि उर्दू डालनी है, उर्दू की एक माहौल है, तो शेर तो बनता है, बहुत से शेर डाल दो. अब मेरे ख्याल से ये शेर किसी को समझ में आया नहीं आया, और ये कितना खूबसूरत ये पूरी गज़ल है, तो वो शायद नहीं चलता था. लेकिन अभी आप देखें तो आई थिंक टू गिव टू द फिल्म इंडस्ट्री, लॉट ऑफ सेगमेंटेशन हैज हैपेंड. You have, multiplex culture where you get, a certain kind of audience. You can make niche films today. So it is possible, and I think much more work needs to be done. And when you're talking about Urdu and Mumbai, and I think those things are possible now, that for a handful of people, you can still create cinema, you can still create, through internet, you can still create a culture of community, which is not happening, but probably should happen. That we should use this new media, new distribution of cinema culture to the advantage of saving languages. If I went to Uttarakhand recently, and the town I was born in Almora, there's no theater there right now. No theater left. Not possible.
No movie theater.
No movie theater. खत्म हो गए सारे. तो कोशिश ये करनी पड़ेगी कि उस कम्युनिटी के लिए, उस लैंग्वेज, बिकॉज मैंने कहा कि लैंग्वेज के साथ साथ, भाषा के साथ साथ संस्कृति भी मरती है. भाषा अकेले नहीं मरती है. तो उस संस्कृति को अगर हम इंटरेस्टेड ही नहीं है, अगर वी आर ओनली इंटरेस्टेड इन द लैंग्वेज ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन, लैंग्वेज ऑफ मार्केट, देन लेट्स नॉट टॉक अबाउट अ वर्ल्ड एंड लेट्स नॉट हैव दीज फेस्टिवल्स. इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन लैंग्वेज बीइंग मच मोर देन ट्रांजैक्शन, then let's have these festivals and let's talk about these things.
Well done. Urvashi, that takes us to the macro aspects, some things which you've been involved in. What do we need to do to revive language, A? What do we need to do to popularize language? Does it necessarily mean translation into English?
I don't think it necessarily means that, although that is an important part of it. That is a necessary thing to do. It's not sufficient. Before answering that, I want to come back to something that Mahmood was saying. I think there is another kind of transaction in relation to Urdu particularly. I'm not sure if it's there in other languages. Because when you located Urdu and its loss in UP and other places, you forgot Punjab. Where actually up until recently, let's say until the partition survivors started to die out, the written expression of Punjabi was always in Urdu script. I mean, people of my parents' generation did not. My father couldn't read Devanagari, never heard of it. He wrote in Urdu. So when Doordarshan started its news bulletins in a Sanskritized form of Hindi, he couldn't understand it and he couldn't read Hindi newspapers. And the interesting thing is that a particular generation of Punjabis from the 1920s on were brought up speaking Punjabi but writing Punjabi in Urdu because actually the Gurmukhi script did not in itself have that much legitimacy, and it was a product of the Gurdwara movement and so on. And there are stories, for example, of soldiers who joined the British Army or who were made to join the British Army who was educated in Gurmukhi, who once they were away wrote letters to their wives, which the wives could not understand because the wives didn't know Gurmukhi. So there was also that. But then there are other interesting stories about how Gurmukhi itself gets essentialized and marginalized to particular communities. So in Delhi, post the 1984 Sikh pogroms against the Sikhs, when the state put into place its rehabilitation policies, the assumption was that